Okay, so I guess we'll get started and hopefully we will have some more panelists and some more students popping in. I'd like to welcome everyone to our first town hall of the spring 21 semester. Welcome. Today's topic is discussing how we can get involved during this most challenging of semesters. How can we get involved in activities that are taking place in the college, both for those of you in your majors and for those of you who are in different majors but want to spend some time getting to know what's going on in other majors. And if you're thinking about picking up something different, if you're a film major and you want to maybe expand your knowledge base into something in music, if you have a passion for sculpture or dance, or if you're a dance major and you want to learn something about making films, or if you want to find out what's going on in architecture or entertainment engineering, what's happening in those other departments. So what we want to do today is talk a little bit about how you can find out what's happening virtually for this semester, and possibly if there's anything going on in person, the safest ways to go about doing that. And I'm wondering, I don't see Dean Usher, but Dean Usher, are you still here?
I am.
There you are. Okay, if you'd like to make some opening remarks for everyone. Your picture disappeared from my screen.
Oh dear. Okay. Well, anyway, it's so nice to be here with everyone. And it's an exciting subject because, in a way, it's about exploration and discovery and doing research about being where you are and making the most of it. So, we have an outstanding group of colleagues right here in this panel, our academic leaders and the people who really are invested in your success. We have, in addition to and each person I imagine will introduce him or herself, we have outstanding leaders of the academic disciplines, and then we have Ashley, Julie, and Stacy, who are in different ways all here to support you as holistic students, in addition to your academic lives, which are extremely central to your to your work at the university. Who we don't have, and that's fine for today, but we don't have the person, the curator and executive director of our Barrett Museum of Art, and also our head of the Performing Arts Center. And that's fine, because you can go and seek them out yourselves. There are hours, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, that the Barrett Museum of Art is open. I myself am going to be going to an exhibit in the next later this month. And we have live stream experiences coming out of our Performing Arts Center. And so I encourage you to explore it all, and you'll get very, very, particular and excellent advice from our academic leaders. But also, I advise you to explore libraries, because librarians are wonderful researchers and they always are happy to help students. So I think, in order to make your experience at UNLV really grand, I think you should just turn over every rock. Get together with students, brainstorm about projects. Look, you're all doing this. You're such wonderful students, and you're doing artistic and creative work all the time. But if you want to do even more and get involved in even more activities, really go for it. Again, the Barrett Museum, the PAC, your own academic disciplines. Reach out beyond our college, reach within our college to do interdisciplinary work. We're not traveling these days, but if you want to plan travel for the future, we have a passport program that Julie Johnson helps run. We can still dream for the future, can't we, about going all over the world? I think we can. And so, be here now and do everything you can to make the most of your experience, and then think about the next years and the things that your hopes and dreams and what you're trying to accomplish. Read books, stream documentaries and films, watch dance, hear concerts, make animatronic objects in EED. I know I'm not saying everything. We have some wonderful theater coming up. We have podcasts. We have UNLV Arts Worldwide, if I may make a plug for that. It's a pretty great YouTube series. Our very own Louis Kavoris is curator, and we're very inclusive. You could even write to one of us and say, I want to be on that YouTube series. I think there's a very good chance if you come forward, we can find a place for you. So be aggressive, be in the moment, and also dream for the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dean Usha. And if you look in the chat, Ashley Stone, our tech guru for these sessions, has added the link for Arts Worldwide, which is a tremendous YouTube series that Louis Kavoris, our chair of dance, and Dean Usha, along with some other members of our College of Fine Arts, do a fantastic job of putting together every Monday night. So if you go and you check that out, you'll see a new episode dropped weekly, and you can go back and look at last semester's episodes and check out some fantastic episodes of YouTube videos that are just mind-blowing, exploring all kinds of art, and local and worldwide. So without any further ado, we'll get going, and we can start by having our panelists introduce themselves and let you know what's happening. And I guess we can start with Louis Kavoris. Louis, the floor is yours.
Hi, I'm Louis Kavoris. I'm the chair of the dance department at UNLV. And if you're watching this, welcome. Hope you're surviving the pandemic. Hope you're being creative. I guess we're just introducing ourselves. I'll leave it there and also say, yes, Arts Worldwide, and our own Heather Addison is also on our team this semester. So we're excited to have her influence in season 2.
I have a lot of influence, everyone. Just make a note of that.
Okay, Heather, would you like to introduce yourself?
Oh, fine. I'm Heather Addison. I'm on the, are we calling it a committee, or what are we calling it for CFA Arts Worldwide? Production team? I'm on the production team for CFA Arts Worldwide, a recently joined member, and I'm the chair of the film department. And so, I mean, we have a lot of things coming up. We have things happening every Thursday. I don't know if we're allowed to share screen. I was just trying to pull up my UNLV Film Thursday schedule. I don't even know if I can find it quickly, but let's see. Are we allowed to share screen, or?
I don't know.
Oh, it looks like it just came up as an option. So let me see. Is everyone seeing this now?
We are.
We are, yes, indeed.
Okay, everyone. So I know your lives are very busy already, but should you find yourself looking for something to do on a Thursday evening, we've got UNLV stuff happening, UNLV film stuff, and almost all of them are hybrid, happening in FDH 109 with just a handful of people, and then also you can drop in on Zoom. This Thursday, we've got our student writing showcase. So we've got our 2020 winners of our short script competition and of our Wegener Film Studies Award presenting their work. So that's actually happening tonight at 7. And actually, Hart and Winnie Wegener are going to be there. So that's going to be great because they sponsor our Wegener Award. And then just, here's just a short lineup of what we've got coming the rest of the semester. But I'm happy to send that out to anyone. All right, now wait, how do I stop sharing screen? And okay, I see. I don't usually use WebEx, everyone. Okay, I see how to stop sharing. And then we have our Spring Flicks Film Festival coming up. So if you're a film student, you've gotten all this information already, and we had our spring mixer on Zoom. So we talked about the competitions. We've got our Right Stuff competition again, and our Wegener Award once again for 2021. So all of that information is online. The deadlines for the script competition and the Wegener competition are April 1st, and Spring Flicks, I believe our deadline, I want to say it's April 26th, and then we're screening the films on the 30th and the 1st, and that will be on Zoom. So, and of course, pandemic production rules, people must be 6 feet apart and wearing masks at all times. So I guess I'll stop there. I'm sorry if I went on too long, everyone, but glad you're here. And I'm glad to be among this distinguished group of CFA leaders.
Thank you, Heather. Next, we have Michael Genova. next we have Michael Genova. Michael,
I'm
have your
muted.
mute on.
It gets old. Hello, everybody. I'm Michael Genova, the College of Fine Arts Coordinator for Entertainment Engineering and Design at UNLV. I'm going to talk a little bit this evening about some of the student organizations that are loosely tied to entertainment engineering, about some of the engagement, kind of free opportunities for students to get engaged with other students, and just a little bit to learn, a way to learn a little bit more about entertainment engineering and design. First of all, I would like to say this to everybody. If you're on campus, go to the Barrack Museum. If you need to just detox, if you need to like step away from weird pandemic fever or whatever, go there. It is such a relaxing experience. It's a huge open environment. There's art all around you. Everybody's wearing a mask. Everybody is socially distanced. It's very relaxing. I did some work there last week with local artist Brent Holmes, and I just for 2.5 hours was in the space, and I was like, I feel really comfortable here. So if you're on campus, go do that, because it is such a great place to be. So about these student organizations, the two organizations that EED works with is the Themed Entertainment, or TEA at UNLV, and the USITT student chapter at UNLV. So both of these student-run organizations are having workshops and meetings throughout the semester. They're both free to join. There's a couple different options with both of these if you want to become an official member. There's some pay options that will get you invitations to a couple of additional events, but they're free to join. The Themed Entertainment Club meets almost every week, maybe every other week. They have a game night that usually lasts for about 2 hours. And I actually attended one of these game nights. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of laughing. There's a lot of communication with your fellows, you know, with other people. It's just a good experience. I can't stress how important it is to laugh. At this point in time in our history, just being with a bunch of other people and laughing is great. And the other organization, the other student organization, USIT, United States Institute for Theater Technology, they're actually launching a series of workshops that are all about entertainment and design. Some are technology workshops, some are design workshops. I'll actually put some contacts in the chat if any students want to contact these two student organizations. You can find out a little bit more about what they're doing. But that's really my whole spiel for entertainment engineering design.
Well, speaking of laughing, Professor Genova, it looks like your fine friend there behind your shoulder is pretty jolly.
Yeah, that's my assistant.
Does your assistant have a name?
I just call him Fred.
That's fitting. It's very fitting. We'll let you know if he gets up during the presentation. If he does, I would like to see the reaction on your face. Next, we have our director of the School of Music, Sue Mueller.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for the introduction, Julie. It's interesting with music and ensembles and lots of people playing instruments. It's been very difficult this semester, as you can imagine, trying to have performances and all that. So, but we're really looking forward to the future. I believe that the fall is going to be a lot more in person. But you don't have to be a musician to appreciate music. You don't have to be a part of any ensemble. We have lots of ways you can engage and just kind of partake of music. Just a couple things coming up, and I'll just kind of piggyback off of our dean here when she mentioned the PAC, the Performing Arts Center, because they are doing a series of live streamed, it's called Live from the UNLV PAC. And so some of our music ensembles and students are actually performing live, and it's live streamed. So even though you're not able to sit in the audience, you might pretend that you're in that audience space. We've got a very gifted pianist, Yingshen Q is what we just call him Q. Okay, and he's a graduate, a DMA, a Doctor of Musical Arts student and he is going to give a concert on February 19th, which is in one day, tomorrow at 7:30. And so if you go to the PAC on UNLV's website, you'll find out all of that information. We have another DMA piano student, Yaxin Shen, and she is going to be performing at 3 p.m. on March 3rd. And then live from the PAC again is March 5th is our percussion ensemble. It's a marimba band, and it is, you just love listening to marimba music. It is so calming but uplifting at the same time. And so that's on March 5th at 7:30. And then the UNLV Opera, in conjunction with the Nevada Conservatory Theater, since Norma's not here, that is going to be an in-person opera. Woohoo! But it's very distant, and there's only 5 performers at a time, very distant on the stage. And so that is going to be March 13th and 14th and 15th. 7 o'clock, 13th and 14th, and then I think 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And that's going to be in the Judy Bailey Theater. So that's like the first real live performance. It seems like we're all really excited about that. And so I'm really happy about that. And Norma Saldivar, the theater chair, and she is the Nevada Conservatory Theater curator, is that what I call it? And she and Linda Lister, who is our opera director, along with Daryl Cooper, who is actually an incredible pianist, but he's also a vocal coach. He knows opera a lot. And then we have other recitals. If you go to our webpage, there are other things that are recorded or live streamed. And so there's always some music to be listened to. I hope you enjoyed some of it. Thanks.
Thank you, Sue. Sue, where is the best place for students to go if they want to get tickets for the in-person opera, or if they need to get tickets for anything virtual?
I believe it's all online at the PAC. And so Lori Cobo would be able to help assist with that. But if you just search UNLV PAC tickets, you should be able to find it on the UNLV website.
Okay.
That's a great question. Thanks, Julie.
Okay. And if anybody has any questions about anything that they are listening to right now, you can always email me and I can send you in the right direction. Ashley, when you have a minute, if you could put my email address in the chat, I would really appreciate that. I can always send you in the right direction to the right person if I don't know the answer. Next, I'd like to take a minute to introduce you, or have her introduce herself, our Director of Advising and guru who knows everything, Ms. Stacy Chapin. Stacy, would you like to say a few words?
I just would like to say hello and let all of you know that our advisors are available to provide any kind of campus resources that you're wondering about. One of the things that I do want to mention that I will put in the chat is the University Student Involvement and Activities area, and they have all kinds of clubs and organizations, student government, fraternity and sororities, campus activities that are not necessarily affiliated with the College of Fine Arts, but other ways that you can find people that you share a like mind with, and interests and things that will help keep you connected to your peers on campus. So let me share that with you, and you all can research that if you're interested. That will take you to student organizations and activities on campus. So we highly encourage that if you want to take a look at that and find other ways that you can get involved on campus.
Mm-hmm. When we get back to being on campus, there are always things going on, excuse me, outside in the courtyard. There are people rolling around in big rubber balls, and which is social distance, I guess, and, you know, giving away free t-shirts for playing very bizarre games. And we have intramural teams and intramural soccer teams, and we even have a hockey team, and all kinds of things that you can get involved in. That sometimes it's nice to be doing something that's completely apart from what you normally do. So you can
And
check
also,
that out.
I
Thanks for
know-
that information.
Sorry, Julie. Also, I know
No.
we have student organizations within our own departments. If some of you want to talk about that as well, I know there is one. We don't have an architecture representative today, but we do have a student organization in the School of Architecture. So for those students who are interested, you can definitely connect with the School of Architecture front desk, and they could give you more information about that student organization and how to get involved. And Sue and Heather, I think you both have student organizations within your departments as well, and Lewis as well. So I'll let you all speak to those also.
We'll go back to that in just one second. I just want to have our last panelist,
Oh, I'm
last
so
but not
sorry.
least. That's okay, Stace. Ashley, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Hi, everybody. I'm Ashley Stowe, and I'm the student recruitment specialist for the college. So any of you guys who are brand new to our institution may recognize my face or my voice from any sessions we may have had. I usually see y'all before you get involved in student organizations, but the thing I can absolutely encourage you guys to do is talk to your new colleagues. I'm an introvert myself, so I know that sometimes it can be hard to reach out to your colleagues. It can be scary because you're in a new environment and there's so many new and exciting things happening around that it can be intimidating, but don't be shy. Everyone around you is also a little scared, so if folks seem a little distant, it's probably because they're also a little intimidated by the situation. So go for it, say hello, and who knows, you may make a lifelong friend.
Thank you, Ashley. All of this would not be possible without Ashley's amazing technical skills. She's been an absolute lifesaver when it comes to putting these things together. So thank you, Ashley. And Stacy, you brought up some really good points, but I did want to ask Heather, because Norma couldn't be here to talk about theater. Ashley, Heather, could you talk a little bit about what's going on in theater right now, collaboration with film?
Well, the thing that's happening literally at this moment, I believe Professor Cobb is trying to make sure this is all edited and ready to go by tomorrow, is the human comedy. So that was a massive shoot, and actually for anyone who's been involved in any like film production, they've got like over 20 hours of footage that they're trying to edit down in a couple days and get ready for public release for the human comedy. So that's very exciting. We also, let's see, the second, I'm trying to just make sure I'm straight on what our second one is, because they're shooting one other one that the NCT is doing this semester, but I'm not actually sure which one that is. It's in March. Nancy, do you know off the top of your head which one that is?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Because I've only been involved recently with the human comedy, and I did a podcast with that, with Adam Paul, his Admit One podcast. I do know that later in the season, where Professor Levner, with her doc class, is shooting the opera. So that's going to happen in March, and we're going to be featuring that, I believe, Lewis, on the CFA Arts Worldwide. We're going to have a segment on that.
Heather, I just want to say, whatever is not completely clear here, do not worry. We have also, our communications director, Jennifer Vaughn. We can make sure that as a result of our discussion here today, that we put out a very clean list of all the events for the spring.
I think the second one film is shooting is Little Shop of Horrors, but don't quote me on that, because Warren told me there was one other one that they're doing. So
it's their Bob Rauschenberg piece.
Oh, it's the Bob Rauschenberg. Okay, so I wasn't sure. Okay, thanks, Lewis.
I didn't want to say the wrong thing in case I didn't know.
Thanks, Nancy.
We have a question. Are there organizations and clubs for performing arts students? So Lewis?
I would say for the dance department, because many people at UNLV dance and have had a life in dance before they come to college. So we try to make a place. Typically at the beginning of the semester, the first Friday of every semester, there are auditions student pieces and student choreography. We have been doing it socially distanced and together. We've had no live performances, but all of our performances are streaming on YouTube. So anyone who's interested, you can go back and look at all of our virtual dance concerts. We've been doing them since pandemic has started, and that's been really fantastic. I would say for us, like many other organizations here, we all have social media pages. So look at our social media. There's even a student group that you can join so that you're constantly on Facebook getting information about things that are available to students. I'd also say our webpage is a great place to find out about all of our events, all of our concerts, and places where you can get involved.
Great, thank you.
One of the great things about UNLV and our student life is that if you want to put together a student club or an organization, you can go for it. We have at present, I was just in a meeting with the director of student life, 387 different student clubs and organizations. Ashley, that's pretty close, isn't it?
I've heard recently it was over 400.
Is it over 400? I think
Yeah.
that was pre-pandemic, but
Oh, that's fair.
that's
Back there.
yeah, it's pretty accurate, or it's pretty much right around there, 403 something. And if you have an interest to put together a group, you can do it. There's nothing holding you back. It's, you know, you get out of it what you put into it. So if you want to put together a group, you most definitely can. Ashley.
This is kind of a weird tag in, but I would recommend exploring the Involvement Center page on UNLV that lists the plethora of registered student organizations that he was talking about. There are other organizations that aren't necessarily what you would think is directly associated with performing arts, but do engage in activities. For example, the Society of Lightsaber Duelists. You find them doing live action role play and fight choreography in the quad during a normal season, but some of their fight choreography is really quite stunning. So it could be that some of those peripheral clubs that you may not think of right away could actually have some fun benefit to what you like to study as a fine artist as well.
Dr. Addison.
I was going to add, like, we had an RSO showcase last week for UNLV Film, and Professor Keenan Diaz organized it. And one of the things we talked about was, I mean, we're excited to have our film RSOs, but that you don't necessarily have to propose an RSO that is in like your area of, like the area that you're studying. It might just be something fun that you like to do. And there are some like crazy RSOs out there. Like we were looking them up. At the University of Michigan, there's a squirrel club. Another like university has like the Clown Nose Club. I mean, just people who like to do like fun, you know, fun stuff together. So it might be something that doesn't necessarily relate to your major, and you might find you might find a like-minded group of people who enjoy doing the same thing. I would join a squirrel watching club. I'm up for it, but I haven't seen many squirrels out here. It's probably not the right club for here, everyone, but
No, you might consider putting together a Pokemon hunting club or gamification clubs, or there's no telling what you could put together out here.
I'm biased against Pokemon Go now, though, everyone, because as some of you may know, I reached the top level in Pokemon Go, and it took me 4 years. And then they increased the top level to be like 10 times the amount of points. So I calculated it, and it would take me 35 years now to reach the top level. So I am really distraught, and I've given up Pokemon Go. But I'm sure it's still a lot of fun for those of you that want to play it.
Do we have anything else we would like to add to this discussion?
You know, we don't necessarily have a plethora of clubs, but we have all of our organizations, all of our ensembles are open to non-majors. So you don't have to be a music major or a fine arts major. So, you know, if you want to sing or if you want to do our jazz singers, you know, there's lots of stuff that way. But I do have to say that when the weather gets a little bit warmer, float by HFA and BMC, because some of our like guitar ensembles are going to be playing outside, masked up, socially distanced, but you might just kind of like, oh, I'll eat my lunch outside here and listen to these guys practice. So just come on by because we're outside a lot when it's nice. And that seems to be our first step away from the pandemic closed offness, if you will.
Beautiful. And Heather, Spring Flicks is also open to everyone, correct?
Yes, Spring Flicks is open to everyone, age 18 and over, and you can participate fully remotely. We're happy to look at your film entries from outside of UNLV. In fact, over time, we're trying to build this up into a world-class competition that dominates the globe. So anyone that you can bring in from outside of UNLV, it does tend to be right now UNLV film students and alums, some of them who have moved to other areas. So that gives us kind of the air of an international competition, but we're also looking to kind of open it up. So I'd appreciate, anyone doing outreach on, in that regard. But last year we had to cancel it. It was very tragic. Because we were going to be having it in April, and of course, but now we figured out pandemic production rules, and they seem to have been working very well. We're trying to be very circumspect because we never want even one case of COVID to come out of something that we have sponsored. So we take that very, very seriously.
Great.
And I even think that, if students want to create, like for instance, music, I know over the last couple of years, we've had a taiko drumming club that's just sponsored by a School of Music faculty member. And we've had a mariachi group, and we're trying to reinstitute that as well. So, just keep asking. Say, or if you want to start one yourself, go for it.
Fantastic. Anything we're missing?
So are there any more questions, Professor Johnson?
I don't see any.
Well, I could ask a question of just our panelists, because, the pandemic hit and we had to kind of alter our instruction, and there have been a lot of, great things that have come out of that. So I wonder, for our students, if because they're going to be registering for fall pretty soon, they might have, even if they haven't specifically submitted a question, they might be wondering, what will the future of instruction look like at UNLV? I don't know if any of you want to share what your thinking is about fall 2021, because there are still some question marks around where we'll be in terms of the pandemic. But I would love to hear from people on that.
Well, I'll swing in because we are trying to do at least, I would say, 3/4 of our classes in person as we can. The faculty members are, saying we want to get back together. So if it's, let's say it's the wind orchestra, it might not start out with everybody in the wind orchestra meeting at the same time, but small groups. So we're going to lead into it gingerly that way. And we're also going to be doing more in-person teaching of lessons and stuff like that, but just in larger spaces. And we've started that this semester as well. So I'm hoping that everybody is hoping that we're going to just kind of take it easy, but increase the amount of in-person time that we can do. That's where we're headed.
I could jump in as a generalist. I don't have the deep expertise of the academic plans that our academic leaders have, but I can say that in general, this semester, as we know, the university said, and last semester, approximately through the entire university, 80-20, our college is likely the most open with regard to on-campus events because of our disciplines, because we've done it because of all of the leaders you see here, we've done it very safely. We're very responsive to anything that changes, and we change very quickly if there is illness and so forth. But we were probably more almost like 50-50 or 60-40. And so my hunch, given what our wonderful director of the School of Music just said, my hunch is that for fall, while the university, just as a guess, will go more like 50-50. I mean, they've said that's possible, that they'll still be remote. It'll be a kind of a combination. So as the university kind of veers toward 50-50, I think that we'll be probably again, will be ahead of or different than the rest of the university because of the nature of our learning and our instruction, our disciplines. We'll certainly still have online courses and remote, I'm sure, but I suspect we will again be, we might be 60% on campus and 40% remote, or 65% on campus and 35% remote. It's a little bit too soon to be definite about it, but I do see that being the direction. What about all of you?
We're going to continue with what we've been doing, which is about 50-50. All dance classes, all physical classes, we'll meet. The big question mark probably for us is, what will performances look like in the fall?
Yeah.
Will there be an audience that comes to a performance? Will we stream part of it afterwards and have a special invited group of people that can see it live? So that's the unknown. And like anything in pandemic, the choreography doesn't really reveal itself to us until a week before or 2 weeks before.
Yes.
We've had to be flexible with what happens next. But that, for us, that's the big thing. We've been really great with classes, and faculty, I just think across the whole college have been amazing in finding ways when a class does have to be on campus to do it very safely. So that's been really, really great. So for performances, that's the next step.
I also think that through this process, we have found students that do like learning online. They do like the remote Zoom approach. And so we have also looked at the classes that can do that and that will be successful that way, which will also free up space that we use. And we are always sensitive to any student that wants to remain remote. And even if it says it's in person in the catalog, if a student wants to enroll but says, I really need to stay remote, because we are keeping that flexible and open. So I think that's really important that we watch it as it goes. It's not going to be an overnight on switch. So we just have to say, okay, we can get a little bit brighter and a little bit brighter, right?
So it's like a dimmer that's getting a little, yeah. It's like a dimmer switch, everyone.
Follow up on what Director Mueller said, because I think, that leads us, and also what Louis Kavor said, it kind of leads us to the direction that we may be learning quite a bit. In fact, we are learning quite a bit during this time, that we can, shape around what the new normal will be. Many people feel we're never going back exactly the way it was because we've learned so much about this time. Certainly, we do want live performance, absolutely, and live screenings and everything. But, they may be sort of framed differently or shaped differently, or they may be more hybrid, or we may be able to add new kinds of technology even to the live work that we do. So, and one of the things that some of us came together and did right away in March was this UNLV Arts Worldwide. We needed to flex our creative muscles, during this time, and it was joyful, and we did things we never would have thought of doing. We're doing different kinds of podcasts. We're doing, so I do think that something great will come out of this time, even though it's a very sad and scary time and a time of sorrow for so many people. So I think we always have to acknowledge that. But we will do increasingly live work. But I think that Louis Kavor's words are very important too, because it's one thing to do classes, and we've been brilliant. I mean, I want to say our faculty and students have been brilliant, and our leadership has been brilliant where that's possible. The performances are a different issue because of the kinds of spaces that we have, and that's just where we are, and the limited capacity that we've been dealing with so far. And I may say that we have an interesting, I'll just bring it up, that we have an interesting and rich challenge in dance that we're just working with now about, can we do a lift? I'm just saying this, I hope it's okay that I'm mentioning it, Louis, because it's an interesting thing. It would take probably a few seconds, but it's an existential question that even though the professional companies could add a lift, excuse me for, I'm no dancer, but, a lift, but, so it's a little embarrassing, but, the thing is, a professional company would have its own board to help make the rules, but we're part of this large state university, so I had to ask, and I apologize for not having made the decision myself, but right now, I'm sure very quickly a committee will make a decision, even though it's a few seconds of a choreography. But those are the existential challenges. And I think it's kind of interesting to bring them to the surface. I hope that's okay, Louis.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you're right, Nancy. We call it the lift.
Well, I think two very positive things have come out of all of this. I think performance-wise, we have quite possibly opened art up to a whole new audience, a much larger audience, the audience that can attend and an audience that can't attend through the new technology that we're adapting, So I think that's a wonderful thing. And I think as educators, we have learned to adapt to a new type of learner, that introvert who can't be in that classroom. So I think that's a great thing too. We have all been educated in a new way, so those students who can't communicate in this way, that they are going to continue on with their education, because we can bring that education to them in a new format that we couldn't do before.
And you know what, I also think it asks us, the pandemic experience asks us to look at different literature or repertoire than we might have always been used to.
Yeah.
Repertoire that might not need as many of the students or instruments or whatever, or dancers. And then also maybe we look at, instead of just one big performance, maybe we have to do 2 or 3 performances to reduce the audience so that they can still see it if they choose to. So I think we're going to have to look at the calendar and the repertoire that we choose. And I think that's what is going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Stacy, did you have something you wanted to add?
I don't. I'm
okay.
just shocked, but thank you.
You looked like you had your hand up. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I did not. No.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to call you out.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
Well, I could add
Heather.
something. I've had another idea, everyone. So what if this is definitely like a post-pandemic thing, but I've always thought it would be wonderful to have like a lounge, a student lounge for the College of Fine Arts, where students could just drop in, sit, eat their lunch, maybe get some free snacks. We kind of try to do that with the film department, where we have snacks. I mean, obviously it's been very light attendance since the pandemic started, but to hand out snacks and things. But I just think it would be wonderful. I don't know where we would get that space, and then students from the different units would be able to just hang out with each other. They'd have a place to go in between classes. And so, Dina, sure, I don't mean to put you on the spot suggesting it at this moment.
I like being put on the spot. It's kind of fun. It's kind of energetic. It creates energy. So here's what I think. We have several courtyards around our beautiful, we have potentially very beautiful sites, Some of our buildings are older than others, that's all I'll say. But we have some potential beauty around the sites of the arts on our truly beautiful campus, which is an arboretum. So I think that we should maybe make a decision as a college during the waning days of the pandemic, whether we start that this spring or next fall, maybe decide on 1 day a week. I mean, it's a bit limited, but maybe just as a pilot to start. Think of 1 day a week and extend it like a 12 to 2 every Wednesday, let's say, or something, and actually have a schedule of courtyards. We'll go on tour, and wherever it is, we'll wheel over, some furniture and some snacks, some, very safe snacks. First of all, nutritious, healthy, kind of veggie oriented, and in safe bags, so that they, I'll spring for it, everybody. No worries about the money. So we could just decide, and like brown bag lunches. So faculty and students together could come you know, again, looking at safe space, socially distanced capacity, but we have at least 4 or 5 beautiful kind of courtyard areas in our where we live, and that includes around, you know, where the concert hall and Judy Valley are, and we'll just make an executive decision to have you know, a touring outdoor fine arts lounge lunches, one day a week, maybe starting in the fall or in the spring if you want. Does that sound like at least a little bit of an inching forward to the right direction?
Yes, yes.
It's kind of like it's like the fine arts, what is it in October? What's it called? I can't remember.
Art walk.
Art walk.
So we're just going to do a lunch walk or a fine art
Save me
walk.
lunch walk. I like it. Yes.
That someone can name it, and we'll give someone money who comes up with a good name for it. But at least it would be something to look forward to.
Yes.
That one day from 12 to 2, touring our spaces. We could get the president, the provost to come out one day, and we could get different, we could have like different people from around the university come join us, maybe make them little talks or not, because then we want people to talk to each other. Maybe each day we'll do a little sponsor for a few $25 Starbucks cards, things like that. Make it fun. As Heather said, we should make things fun. Does that sound
Well,
good?
Heather and I will be there if there are Starbucks cards. No,
That would be the reason to have them, then we must have you there. So, you know, I think we can have fun with this. You know, let's do it. Thank you so much for the idea.
yeah, it's kind of like what we did Rebels at Lunch
Yes.
in TAM. Yes.
That was so lovely.
Yeah.
Maybe we can do kind of a variation on that, you know,
Yeah.
and have, you know, spontaneous performances,
Yeah.
things like that. And
I think
maybe
a student just posted we could call it Art Talks.
Thank you so much for your ideas. We could even have, you know, one day, you know, maybe different themes, maybe one week improv, and we can bring our instruments and, you know, different art forms, and we can just do little, you know, improvs or not. That may not be a good idea. I don't know what a good idea is, but let's put it this way. We live in a world of possibility and open mindset. So let's make that the context for our work. Artists are creative, and this is a time to be creative and together, something like that.
Perfect.
That is the great place to end. If no one has anything else they'd like to add, we're just getting up to that time. That's all. I love that idea. Does anybody have anything they want to add at this point? All right, well,
I just wanted to give a shout out to Devin, because those are such good, those are art talks and then walk the talk in arts. Just very clever. Thank you.
So clever. So clever.
Sorry, Julie.
No. Absolutely. Give credit where credit is due. I like it. All right. Well, thank you all so much for participating. I hope that whoever is watching this has some great ideas and will join us. Maybe pick up an instrument you've never played before, star in a movie, learn to dance, just get involved and join us. Hopefully we'll see you soon, and we will see you next month at our next town hall. Thank you everyone for being here.
And Julie, thank you. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye everyone.
Bye, everybody. Be safe.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.